Today, have you seen this man, Zachariah Liebird? Police urgently want to locate him after the fatal stabbing of a 19-year-old in Birmingham.
And we've got a heartbreaking appeal about an arson attack that stole the lives of two best friends.
We're desperate for answers. We're desperate for closure. We need to grieve as a family. We've not yet grieved properly.
Stay watching for CrimeWatch Live.
Has been jamming the switchboard both here and at the incident room on that case of Welling Garden.
Just to remind you, this was the abduction and radio drop campaign and the handgun debate. Hello and welcome to CrimeWatch. 12 people rang in giving the same those fantastic results.
Welcome to Monday's show. This is our third week of live programmes where we've been showing you appeals police really need your help to solve. So do stay watching because you might hold that one piece of information they need.
Today, we've got an update on an appeal we ran last year about Ewan Corbett, a wanted face who'd gone on the run. Well, we've got the exclusive story of how his brags on social media about travelling the world helped police catch him.
Corbett was an extremely dangerous man. He was on the run, living the lavish lifestyle, taunting the police. We were dealing with a very, very dangerous individual.
We're also talking about the rising crime of cyber flashing and what to do if that happens to you.
And we'll be in the studio with retired police dog Baloo and winner of the Crufts Hero Dog Award. Injured in the line of duty, she's now offering solace to officers on the front line.
Talking at the front line, behind the scenes in our Cardiff headquarters, we are ready to take your calls. You can scan our QR code and get all of our details, or just call us on 08000 468 999. Text us on 63399, start with the word crime, leave a space, then write your message, or email us cwl@bbc.co.uk. And details are going to stay on the screen all throughout the show.
Now, for our first appeal this morning, we're off to Manchester. In 2005, a deadly arson attack broke the hearts of two families. Do you know who started the fire?
Rona was our youngest sister. She was such a happy-go-lucky kid. She wanted to work with children with complex needs because she felt she had a gift with children. She took all the kids under her wing.
She learnt me how to roller skate, how to ride my bike. Anytime I had trouble with kids on the street, it'd be Rona I ran to.
Resolve it, yeah. She was the best. She was. I'm crying over her. I'm so sorry.
But she was beautiful.
Rona had a best friend called Vicky, who she'd met at school when they were 15 years old.
Vicky was one of 9. She always helped, with the children. Mum, I'll do that. Mum, can I do that? She would always make a serious situation become funny with things she'd say, She was always laughing, always joking.
When Vicky came round to our house, you always heard them before you saw them, and they would always be laughing.
Yeah.
Definitely. They just got on really, really well.
They was the best of friends, weren't they? They truly loved each other.
They were always together.
On Monday, the 9th of May 2005, Vicky and Rona were at a friend's house on King Street in Higher Broughton, Salford.
There was 4 or 5 of them there. They all seemed to be having a good time, apart from some squabbles. Some left about 1:30, and then the remainder left between 2 and 3 a.m. in the morning, leaving Vicky and Rona alone in the house, and then they went to bed upstairs.
over.
Hello, fire.
We've heard all the glass flashes and there's an house on fire.
King Street, I brought, and it's well ablaze.
We don't know if anybody's in there.
In the early hours of the 10th of May, a fire had ripped through the terraced house as Vicky and Rona slept.
Around 4 a.m. that morning, the fire services were alerted by neighbours. They'd heard the bangs and they'd seen the fire spreading. The fire ravaged through the house very quickly.
Firefighters arrived just 3 minutes after receiving the 999 call and fought to rescue the inseparable teenagers from the first-floor bedroom. Tragically, Rona and Vicky died at the scene. They were both just 19 years old.
Vicky's mum couldn't deal with it. Jacqueline just couldn't hold a conversation about it because she would just start crying. She was so upset. That was quite traumatic, really.
My dad was running through the house screaming, "Is that a baby? Is that a baby? She's gone. And she's gone." And then he ran up the stairs screaming, she's gone. And then him and my mum cuddling each other on the bed. And then all those sisters at the top of the stairs crying. The worst day of my life, absolutely worst day. I think that's when I saw mum and dad die that day. Part of them died.
Police, the fire service, and forensic scientists worked together to examine the scene to establish the cause of the fire.
There were 2 seats of fire. There's no doubt that this was arson with intent to kill. This was a murder inquiry. We believe between about 3:30 in the morning and 20 to 4, somebody has gone into the house through the unsecured front door and set fire in 2 places, in the foam-filled armchair and a foam-filled sofa, both in the ground floor rooms of the house. And because the door was left open and there was an open staircase, that fueled the flames. And the heat was so intense it probably got up to about 1,000 degrees Celsius and completely destroyed the ground floor of the house.
Vicky and Rona didn't stand a chance.
We lost a bit of everybody that day. Like I said, she was the youngest girl in the family. She was like the baby girl.
Sadly, Rona's parents passed away, never knowing who had killed their daughter.
Vicky's mum and her dad, they don't seem to be able to move on from it. It's still there, it's very painful for them both. Nobody can fill that void where Vicky used to be.
20 years on, and despite extensive work, detectives are still looking for Rona and Vicky's murderer.
We really need to get justice for Vicky and Rona and their families. I'm convinced that someone in the circle of friends or the local community knows who did this. Allegiances will have changed, and someone needs to look at their conscience and come forward and give us the name of the person or persons who set fire to that house and killed Rona and Vicky.
We still don't have any answers. None at all.
There's not a day that goes by where we're not thinking about Rona. There's someone out there knows something, and we're desperate for answers. We're desperate for closure. We need to grieve as a family. We've not yet grieved properly. We just need peace in our life now.
And Martin Bottomley joins us from Greater Manchester Police. Thanks for coming in, Martin. 2 young lives lost in this tragic incident. What do you think led up to that fire that night?
Well, Vicky and Rona were socialising with friends at the house on King Street during the evening, and there'd been some alcohol consumed, and later on in the evening an argument broke out between one of the friends and one of the victims. But over the course of the night, early hours of the morning, the friends left. And about 2 a.m, Vicky and Rona went upstairs to bed and to sleep.
So how do you think the fire actually started?
Well, someone has entered the house through the insecure front door. They've gone into the ground floor living room, set fire to various items of furniture, and within, say, 10 minutes, the temperature would have been about 1,000 degrees. The windows blew out. That alerted the neighbours, who then called the emergency services.
We can see some of the images, actually, of that property. As you say, the windows blown out, absolute destruction and devastation inside. And those 2 young girls were upstairs asleep at the time. They would have been trapped. Yeah,
they were trapped upstairs, and because the door was open slightly, the open staircase acted like a chimney, and the smoke and flames rapidly flew upstairs.
So because the 2 young women were upstairs, how do you think the offender actually got in? You mentioned it was possibly an insecure door.
Yeah, the house was in need of some repair, and the front door was slightly open, but somebody would have known that, and they got in through the front door and set fire to the house, and it was devastating.
It really is. So today's appeal, it's many years on. Who are you appealing to?
I'm appealing to somebody who would have known at the time who did it and why, and perhaps they didn't come forward at the time, but, you know, allegiances change, and they need to search their conscience and come forward and tell us who did this.
Do the right thing, and if anyone needs another reason to come forward, there's a financial reward, a substantial one at that, that's up on offer for this.
Yes, Greater Manchester Police are offering £50,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for this tragic incident.
Martin, thank you. Well, if you do have any information at all that you believe can help this truly tragic case, please do get in touch.
Still to come this morning, how a police dog who lost her leg in the line of duty became an award-winning therapy dog. But first, we have an urgent appeal from West Midlands Police about the murder of teenager Chris Okora, who was killed just a few weeks ago in Acox Green, Birmingham. And with DCI Phil Poole from the Homicide Unit now, thanks so much for coming in today. What more can you tell us about this appeal, Phil?
Well, our major crime unit have launched a murder investigation following the fatal stabbing of a 19-year-old male named Chris Okora. We were called on the 13th of January to a multiple occupancy house on Warwick Road in the Acox Green area of Birmingham at approximately 1:50 p.m. in the afternoon. Colleagues from the paramedic service attended with us, and sadly at 2 p.m. Chris was pronounced deceased at the scene.
Just awful to hear. This has been a fast-moving investigation for you and the team, hasn't it, Phil?
It has. We've taken a number of statements from people that witnessed what took place at the scene, and we've been able to identify a 22-year-old male, Zachariah Liebird, who is now wanted in connection with questioning with Chris's murder. How would you describe this male? So Liebird is described as approximately 180 centimetres tall. He's of slim build, and he's got distinctive long dreadlocks or afro hair. We've got some CCTV that we can take a look at. Just talk us through what we're seeing here in this footage. So significantly, in the moments before Chris was sadly murdered, we've got footage of Liebird on the Warwick Road, very close to the location of where Chris sadly died. And we can just see that, we'll just confirm the location, as you mentioned, Warwick Road there is on the map. You believe the two men knew each other, is that right? Yes, we believe there is a connection prior to the offence taking place between Chris and Liebird. We've got a number of hypotheses that we're working through at the moment. We're keeping an open mind around what the circumstances and the motive are for the offence, and working diligently through a number of lines of inquiry. What do you know about Liebird's movements since the murder? So we know that Liebird has been missing since the day of the offence on the 13th of January. The last sighting of Liebird was on the 16th of January at St Pancras train station in London, where we know that he boarded a Eurostar to Amsterdam. And you can see in the footage here that Liebird is casually walking along the train station platform, even laughing which is quite callous considering the level of violence that he used against Chris just 3 days prior to this offence.
Absolutely. I mean, it's quite shocking to see, really, isn't it? It's so cool, calm and collected. This has been something that understandably has absolutely devastated Chris's family. In fact, they've paid tribute to him, saying Chris was only 19 years old. He had his whole life ahead of him. He didn't get the chance to truly explore the world and discover himself. We, as a community, need to stand up as one and help save our young people's lives. A real powerful message there. How are the family coping, Phil?
Well, we've obviously got specialist officers supporting them. But the family are absolutely and understandably completely devastated by Chris's murder. They are absolutely beside themselves, and it's made far worse by the fact that Chris hasn't been wrapped up in a life of crime prior to this offence taking place. So the impact has been far worse on them for that basis.
For viewers that are watching this morning, how can they help? What are you appealing for?
So I'm appealing directly to anybody that knows the whereabouts of Liebird to get in touch with us. I'm also appealing to members of the public that may have been in the Warwick Road or Alton Boulevard area of Acox Green on the 13th of January, who may have dash cam footage, CCTV footage or ring doorbell footage that we haven't already took possession of. The area is a very busy area with heavy footfall and lots of cars passing through the area, so I'm optimistic that there will be more footage out there that we can capture.
Absolutely, fingers crossed. And finally, there is a Crime Stoppers reward, isn't there, in connection to this case?
Yes, the independent charity Crime Stoppers have put a £10,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of Liebird. Now that is unusual because normally we only get rewards where it leads to the successful conviction of a person, but unusually in this case it is for information leading to his arrest. I do believe that members of his family may be supporting him to remain at large, and I would appeal to them to do the right thing. This is a young man who's lost his life, and the family are going through an absolutely terrible time. So anybody that knows where he is, I'd appeal to them to let us know that information.
Yeah, we need answers for Chris's family, don't we? Thank you so much for joining us in the studio, Phil. So if you do have any information about Liebird's whereabouts, then please do get in touch. All the ways you can do that are on the screen below.
Now, how a wanted man's posts on social media about his globe-trotting adventures backfired, making it easier for police to stay on his tail and catch him.
Corbett was an extremely dangerous man, involved in all types of criminality. He was on the run, living the lavish lifestyle, taunting the police.
They were arranging for a shooting to take place, as though it was nothing.
On the 2nd of May 2020, a car driving at speed in North York Moors National Park flipped over and landed in a field. When the emergency services arrived, one of the passengers, 21-year-old Shane Finn, was airlifted to hospital, where sadly he passed away.
The family of Shane were extremely upset and very distressed. They'd lost their son. Shane was also a father as well.
The driver was 21-year-old Ewan Corbett. He and another passenger sustained minor injuries.
Corbett was very shocked at the scene, and when members of the public arrived, Corbett told them to tell them that he wasn't driving the vehicle and that there was another person at the scene who had run away.
Although Corbett denied he had been the driver, forensics proved otherwise. He was charged with death by dangerous driving and released on bail. But on the 19th of December 2022, the day he was due in court, he didn't show up. Ewan Corbett became a wanted fugitive.
When somebody goes on the run, we contact other police forces in the UK where they have lived before. And if we find that they have actually left the country, then we can make inquiries with ferries, airports, etc. to see if they've gone out of the country that way.
But Corbett broadcast exactly where he was. He posted on his social media accounts
that he was in Thailand. And that was just the start of his adventure. He would regularly brag about his trips, boasting of being unstoppable. He even had the audacity to call the police.
He was asking why they were making visits to his family and to his associates. He said something like, "I'm not telling you where I am, and if you come looking for me, things might get tough for you." Making veiled threats to police officers. We were dealing with a very, very dangerous individual.
But they weren't the only police force looking for Corbett. Detectives in Cleveland were also hunting for him after they heard a disturbing conversation between him and a local criminal they had been surveilling.
This was a conversation for the most part between two friends. It was catching up, it was conversations around Ewan's life on the run and how he was enjoying himself, the kind of experiences that he'd been able to have. And then, quite jarringly really, they were arranging for a shooting to take place on a street in Middlesbrough.
Yeah, bro, get them windows blown out for me, please, mate. I'll send you a photo now, Brad.
What comes across is just how throwaway the request was for Ewan to make, as though it was nothing. It was just transactional, and that really was quite shocking.
Tracing the address Ewan had given for the attack, police then found some alarming evidence.
What CCTV showed is that 1 a.m. on the 25th of July 2023, a quad bike pulls up outside that address with two masked males, one of whom gets off the quad bike and pulls out what appears to be a shortened shotgun. He attempts to fire it into the property but has some sort of difficulty, a blockage perhaps of some sort, and then before getting back onto the quad bike he does successfully fire around into the downstairs window. Adjusts his aim to fire upstairs but encounters a second issue, and at this point he gets on the back of the quad bike and they flee. Fortunately, and I think through luck more than anything else, the family were unharmed.
Having ordered a shooting at someone's home and killing a passenger of a car he was driving, detectives joined forces to hunt down this dangerous criminal. He may have been on the run, but he wasn't hiding.
Some of the posts that Corbett put on certainly looked like he was taunting police, saying, you know, come and find me, you'll never find me, I'll always be on the run, you'll never catch me. One of the posts caused me some concern. There was a picture of him holding a rifle and he was at a firing range, saying, this is in case any badges come near me.
He was living the life of a gap year student, not a wanted fugitive, posting pictures from Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Switzerland, Italy and Spain. Police believed he had even made it to the Euros.
I thought, how has he got from Thailand to Spain? He would not have been able to get there on his own passport because his photograph had been well disseminated to all these foreign forces. He was using false identity.
We now have the challenge in finding exactly where Ewan is on the run at this moment in time and ultimately getting him back to the UK.
Confident he was using false papers, they turned to Interpol, Border Force, and launched a media campaign to flush him out.
He's known to have connections in Middlesbrough in North Yorkshire and also in Spain and Portugal.
Part of the challenge was the frequency of movement, the propensity to change and mix up SIM cards and mobile phones. The social media posts certainly helped the investigation because it really did give us a correlation of the other evidence we had and what we knew or thought we knew about his movements.
We knew that the net was closing in on him and we just needed that one little piece of luck to catch him, and eventually it came.
In February 2025, Turkish police arrested Corbett as he tried to cross the border into Iran.
The border guard at the Iran-Turkey border questioned him at the scene. He had a Polish passport. he was unable to answer the questions in Polish. And that is the passport that he'd been using to travel around both the EU and in Southeast Asia. After 4 years of trying to locate and bring Corbett to justice, I knew we had our man this time. 100% it was him.
On the 29th of May 2025, Corbett was deported back to the UK and taken to York Crown Court, where he pleaded guilty. Corbett was sentenced to 11 years and 2 months imprisonment for death by dangerous driving. He was also given an extra 4 years for the firearm offence in Cleveland.
I thought, wow, 15 years and 2 months is an extremely long sentence. My colleagues in Cleveland, you know, they fought as hard as I did to try and find him, and they were as overjoyed as I was that he was finally behind bars.
It's a relief more than anything because you've made a commitment to that family and to the victim here in Cleveland that you can't escape justice. And when you do these kind of things, we're going to be relentless in our pursuit of you.
Well, I bet now we wish he hadn't posted all those pictures about that pretend gap year.
I mean, what was he thinking, though? It's not the wisest idea, that, is it?
Probably thought he didn't get caught, but he was caught. Well, we are now talking to Professor of Law at Durham University, Claire McGlynn, and also Jess Davies, who has herself experienced a crime called cyber flashing. Good morning to you both. Claire, if I can just start with yourself, can you just explain what actually is cyber flashing?
So this is where someone takes an image or a video of their genitals or someone else's and sends it to someone without their consent. Now, it can happen in lots of different ways, on email, on social media, dating apps, but it can also be done through Bluetooth and AirDrop. So you can be on the bus or standing in the queue for coffee and someone sends you this image without your consent.
It's really shocking, actually, just to think that this can happen at any time, any place. And when you look at the figures, 45% of women aged between 18 and 24 years old have received a sexualised image without their consent, Jess. This is something that you've experienced yourself firsthand, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I would even imagine the figures are higher than that, you know, and it is something that I've experienced for more than 10 years now, ever since I was kind of on the internet. And all them different kind of like social media platforms. I've had someone email me, my work email that they found, and send me these images.
That's your work email as well that they're using.
Yeah, and it adds to that kind of level of the fear and the threat of like, well, who are these people? Because so much of it can be anonymous, right? And that kind of, you start to wonder, well, why have they found my email? Like, why are they sending this to me? Who is it? Could I pass them in the street? Do they live by me? Do they know who I am? So it all adds into this sense of making women feel scared online.
Absolutely, that's the thing, isn't it? It's not just a photo. When you actually think of the far-reaching consequences that it can have on your day-to-day, how it makes you feel.
Definitely, and the way that this crime works, right, it's on your phone, you get sent it, on your laptop. So for me, it would be like checking my social media in the morning when you're still in bed, this place that's meant to be your safe space, and you have these people invading it and sending you something without your consent, and it can really change the way you view your own home and that safety element, but the way you get to like operate, not just online, but offline as well.
Claire, what do you believe actually drives this type of behaviour?
There's lots of different reasons. For some men, it is about threatening and intimidating women. So it's a power over them by being able to interfere with their daily lives in the way that Jess describes. Some others are doing it with a kind of disregard, frankly. They'll send out 100 messages and just hope that 1 or 2 women respond without caring about the impact they have on others. We also got to think about, groups of young teenage boys. Sometimes they're doing it because they're pressured to, it's about gaining the kudos in that group. So in that sense, again, it's got little regard for the women, but they're trying to do it as a kind of bonding exercise.
And what can be done to stop it? We just heard it can often be anonymous, so it must be quite tricky. What can be done?
Well, it is now a crime, so if you can report it to the police if this happens to you. Now, you're right that often it's anonymous, so sometimes it can be difficult to trace those individuals, but that's not impossible if we've got some commitment and drive to follow through on this. The platforms could be doing more to try and prevent these images being shared in the first place. But ultimately, yes, we've got to try and change our kind of culture and attitudes so that people just don't think it's acceptable to send these kind of images.
Well, you talk about changing culture and attitude, as you say, Claire, that is pivotal, really, so important, because as it stands at the moment, when you discuss this kind of topic, it still feels, Jess, that there is a lot of victim blaming, victim shaming around it, doesn't there?
Absolutely. I mean, every single time I speak about this, I'll get people saying, well, why did you open that message? Why did you open that email? I've never experienced that. What have you done to try and get that? Oh, you have social media, so this is just what happens online. And it's this victim blaming and normalising of these behaviours that it just brushes it off. But, you know, I always say, if we were seeing these kind of behaviours out on the street, every street corner you see, someone was there exposing themselves, we would talk about it like an epidemic. You know, we'd have women being too scared to go outside or parents telling their children to stay in. But because it's online, it's kind of downplayed as not so serious. But of course, you know, these people that are doing it, they're real people. You know, they do exist on the offline world as well. And for me, it's that sense of, well, if they think that behaviour is okay, we need to start worrying about, well, what happens when that isn't enough for them? Is there a correlation between something more serious in the future?
Exactly. I mean, Claire, you were just nodding your head there. That's a really interesting point, isn't it? What comes next after this initial behaviour, which is indeed worrying? You know, what could happen after that?
Well, we do know that some of the most violent men have cyber flashed and exposed themselves in the past. So we know that it can be a pattern of offending for some very serious and violent offenders. But the thing is, for each and every woman, we don't know which of the people who are sending us these images is going to be that exceptionally violent person. So every single time we get sent the image, we feel the fear and the threat of what is going to happen next. What will they do next? And sometimes it's even, who is that person? You know, you can be on the bus or the tube and you don't know who it is who sent you the image. Are they going to follow you, and what's going to happen next? So yes, it can be a pattern of offending, but for individual women, every single one is the threat.
Yeah. It really is. And Claire, finally, would you advise that people still report these things? It is now a crime. Would that be your suggestion?
So it very much depends on each individual. Not everyone wants to go to the police and report this as a crime. But if you choose to, yes, do. It is a crime, and we must make sure the police are taking this far more seriously. And there are a large number of convictions now for this offence. A younger girl, particularly a teenager, I definitely want her to be talking to a trusted adult and speaking to the school to make sure that this is being dealt with properly in a school as well. And you can report it to the platforms. Block those people, but report it so that maybe action can get taken against them.
Yeah,
fantastic
Claire,
advice. Thank you.
Really good advice. Thank you, Claire, and thank you, Jess, for sharing.
Now, our regular viewers will know we do cover some of the worst crimes in the country, but we also want to shine a light, don't we, on the amazing people fighting to make our communities just that little bit better. And there are thousands of them out there.
There are so many. Here's another example of one of those channeling their energy into making things a little bit happier.
My name's Joel. I run an organisation called Paradigm Project, and I'm also a researcher, and I look at issues around school exclusion. I do a lot of work in primary schools and secondary schools. I actually served a custodial sentence, and it was during that time that I became acutely aware of the privileges that I had. I was able to see some of the things that I had or had experienced that was very different to the people around me. I did a mentoring qualification in prison and started working in the education department, mentoring basic maths and English. There is an overrepresentation in prison of people that have been excluded, permanently excluded from education. School exclusion can lead to those harmful trajectories which can end up in criminal justice involvement. One of the most profound experiences for me after leaving prison was briefly working in a trauma unit in a hospital, working directly with the victims of knife crime, and the amount of young people that were coming through really is what made me feel like something needs to be done to stop them from getting here in the first place. And that's what really led to me founding Paradigm Project, because I wanted to create a paradigm shift in the way that we tackle complex youth issues. The focus of today is obviously moving from primary to secondary school. You guys are going to get to learn from the children, and also they're going to get to learn from you guys. So today is about you. It's about hearing from you. There's no right or wrong answers. Paradigm Project started its focus working on early educational transitions, right from early years into primary school, so we can pick up some of those issues and actually support families and children and schools in producing healthier children throughout that journey. We're going to run an activity, Harley, called Friendship Soup. And this is a really fun exercise that we do to explore what are the ingredients of a successful friendship or a healthy friendship, okay?
1 handful of happiness, 2 spoons of trust, 5 ounces of respect, 1 spoon of curiosity.
We've spoken about what makes a good friend and to not be in a bad group with your friends.
We had a lot of fun looking at things like good communication, fun, laughter, a shoulder to cry on. There's also things that you'd have in friendships, such as being yourself and being able to speak to each other openly and opinionated without being judged.
It's very useful to do this all together because most children don't like having deep conversations with their parents. So the fact that we've got to do it in a good way that's showing our collaboration was really good.
The ultimate goal of the work that we're doing through Paradigm Project is to work in a more preventative way so that we can increase the life opportunities of children that might otherwise be classified as disadvantaged. We want to empower schools and services to be able to engage with their students. This work is about being positively disruptive in the education space, doing things differently to what they've been done previously. This is about building systems that don't wait for crisis before they respond.
It really is fantastic work that Joel's doing there. It just puts a smile on your face, doesn't it? Now, a recent survey from the Dogs Trust revealed that 95% of people agree that having a dog is good for their mental health, and our next guests demonstrate this beautifully with former Met Dog handler Mandy Chapman and her retired police dog Baloo, who was injured in the line of duty. It is such a pleasure to have you with us this morning. Thank you so much for coming in. We've got to talk more about beautiful Baloo. I mean, she's so calm this morning. But as we just mentioned there, she lost her front leg, didn't she? What happened? How did she become injured?
Well, Baloo was a general purpose police dog with Essex Police. And unfortunately, in October 2018, she tracked some suspects, but was then hit by the car. So everybody sees the visible disability, but the more serious injury was the pelvis was smashed. So that's all been rebuilt with metal rods into both back legs to give her strength. We thought we were going to lose her. I mean, we can see her here, bless her. So was this what mid-operation? Absolutely, yeah. She'd had the work on the pelvis to replace a lot of the bones with metal, and the following day immediately took away the front right leg because that had just not had any oxygen and was too badly damaged.
Oh, she's missing her front leg, isn't she? You can see there, but still a very, very happy dog. How did you guys come to work together, Mandy?
Well, I'm a retired Met Police dog handler. I work for German Shepherds, and when I retired, obviously at a very young age, I started volunteering with Essex Police. Saw her working, she was phenomenal. And when she was injured, I offered the handler that I would give her a nice quiet retirement, which hasn't worked out. I am PA and chauffeur. But yes, what I wanted to do when I took her on was to go and meet our heroes in headsets in the control room and other officers and staff that heard the call. She wasn't expected to survive. It is incredible she has survived. And that started off the visits. We have been everywhere since then. And what we notice is how people, really feel better. Officers and staff know I've been in the police a long time. They can talk to me. We've helped people, including children, get over incidents where they may have been bitten by a dog or are afraid of dogs. She just has that way.
So exactly how does it work then, or does it change depending on the type of organisation or area that you're going to? Is it a case of actually just sitting there and spending time with people.
It is. I mean, we obviously primary role is supporting police officers and staff and other agencies with well-being. But we also visit care homes, we visit schools, Cub Scouts. We've even been a kindergarten with 3-year-olds and they just adored her.
Yeah. What kind of impact would you say that people spending time with Baloo and yourself can have? What do you see?
Just the way she can look at somebody or pick somebody out in the classroom or in a care home or even on a busy relief of officers. There'll be no outward sign, but she will make a beeline for them. The paw goes up and the eyes. And she just really knows who needs that extra attention, a bit of affection. And they know they can talk to me.
Yes. And I remember when we were talking earlier, Mandy, you were saying actually you wished that, you know, you would have been able to have this kind of thing during your time.
Oh, I do.
Police.
As a police officer who served for over 30 years frontline, we see the worst things.
Yeah.
And we carry that with us. We've lost too many officers and staff to suicide and having mental health issues that some force them to leave the force or carry that weight with them. And we just are able, and we've had feedback from people very quietly, that we've really helped them. And that's just fantastic to think your dog's doing that and how happy she is doing it.
Yeah, well, you can tell. I mean, she always had this temperament, just so chilled.
She's a lively police dog, but she's absolutely amazing, as I say, with older people. We visit SEND schools and they absolutely love her and she just loves fuss.
Yeah, well, she loves live telly as well. She is just kicking back, having a lovely time. We've got to mention the award that Baloo won. Was this last year at Crufts?
Last year. She is the Hero Dog 2025 at Crufts. And she was awarded by the Kennel Club the Extraordinary Life of a Working Dog. She's a show-off. But the wonderful thing about that is the winner. Obviously, we had over 120,000 votes by the weekend.
Did you?
Well, we visit a lot of schools and a lot of forces.
A lot of fans then.
But the best thing is you win £5,000, which I donated to the Essex Retired Police Dog Fund, who kindly, voluntarily look after our retired police dogs in Essex.
That's fantastic.
So that will help a lot of other dogs that quietly retire.
So just paying it back. I mean, you know what? So just to see this relationship, Mandy, between you and Baloo, it must feel very special.
She's amazing. It's an honour and a privilege to share her. I love it. And while she's enjoying it, we'll keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's been a privilege to have you in the studio. She's put smiles on so many people's faces behind the scenes as well here today. So thank you so much for taking the time. Thanks, Baloo. Rav.
Well done, Baloo. And Michelle and Baloo are totally having a cuddle right now, I can guarantee you. Now, though, it is time for the first of this week's Wanted Faces. First, have you seen Chris Bailey here? Sometimes he uses the name Paul Burkton. He's been recalled to prison where he was serving a sentence for reckless driving. He's 42, has connections to Maidstone in Kent and may be recognised due to a number of scars on his hands and legs. Next, we've got Hamza Fade. He was sentenced for robbery and is now being recalled to prison for breaching the conditions of his licence. He's 31, has connections to Hull and also London. And last for this morning, do you recognise this guy? This is 26-year-old Jacob Smith. He was jailed for 3 years and 6 months for handling stolen goods and later released, but he has failed to stick to his conditions and has been recalled back to prison. Police say he has links to Carlisle in Cumbria and also Morecambe and Blackpool in Lancashire. So if you know the whereabouts of any of those men, please do call us on 08000 468 999. And I'm afraid we've run out of time for today, but remember you can watch the whole series so far on iPlayer. It's all there, and do check out our sister series, which is CrimeWatch Court. That's there also.
Yes, it's very good. Tomorrow, it's a nail-biting rescue mission for police as they race to save a woman from drowning in a car.
Watch yourself when we put this window in, okay?
It's terrifying.
It's so scary, isn't it? Oh, well, that's on tomorrow. Lots more as well. 10:45, same time. Bye for now.
See you then.